Good morning, everybody. May you all enjoy a beautiful meal while hearing about some very exciting things in Kern County. So I am delighted to be here, and as Richard mentioned, I work for the CPUC, and it's extremely exciting for me to be here because the CPUC has been very actively engaged in trying to ensure reliability and clean power here in California. We've been actively ordering new clean energy procurement for many years, but especially since 2019. I'm delighted to report that since 2019, we've brought online over 30,000 megawatts of new resources to serve the state of California, many thousands of which, over 4,000 of which, have been built right here in Kern County. Kern County, building upon an already outstanding foundation prior to that. So Kern County really stands out as a leader in clean energy development and all energy development, obviously, as Lorelei was just explaining to all of us. So it's totally fitting that I'm here today to introduce to you this wonderful panel of project developers so that we can hear about what it's actually really like to get these projects built. Several years ago, I helped start the Tracking Energy Development Task Force, which is an effort of the Governor's Office of Business Development, the California Public Utilities Commission, the California Energy Commission, and the California ISO to reach out to developers and hear directly from them about areas where they need government assistance at the statewide level. And so it's through these types of conversations that I've been able to meet developers like this and hear their story. And it's so important to me that we work together, business and government, all together at the state and local level to be able to solve the problems just like Lorelei was expressing. So without further ado, I've asked each of the panelists here to introduce their company with the help of a big, beautiful visual aid, which hopefully will get up on the screen. And we're gonna start with each of them. And I've asked each of them to just kind of describe the storage projects that each of your companies have had in development, either under construction or coming in the future in the county, and what those projects are like. Because these are really big projects, and I want people to understand the magnitude of the investment. I mean, Kern County has had over $10 billion of investment from storage in the past 5 years. So let's see how big these are and talk about what this is all about. So starting with Brendan Cuffe from AES, can you please introduce AES in California?
Yes, thank you. I'm Brendan Cuffe. I'm an engineering manager at AES. I focus on project execution in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For those of you that don't know, AES is a global energy company and a leading developer in the United States. In California, we've got over 3.7 gigawatts of solar, battery energy storage, and wind projects in operation, along with 2.7 gigawatts of thermal generation, and another gigawatt of clean energy projects under construction. So contributing greatly to that 1 gigawatt under construction, in the top left of the screen, you can see the Belfield Solar Plus Storage Project. It is a combined 1 gigawatt solar, 1 gigawatt, 4 gigawatt hour battery energy storage project near California City. There's two phases of it, both 500 megawatts of solar plus 500 megawatts, 2 gigawatt hours of battery storage. Phase one, we're proud to announce, was placed in service in September of this year, and phase two is expected to be complete in 2026. So when the project is complete, both phases combined will provide enough energy for approximately 500,000 homes annually. Yeah, it's a pretty remarkable project. It is currently the largest solar plus storage project in construction in the United States, and we're really proud of it.
And that's a beautiful picture of it up in the top left-hand corner, right? Yeah. All right, so Curt, can we move to you next, and you can introduce, Curt Hildebrand is going to introduce Hydrostor.
Thank you, Molly, and good morning, everyone. Curt Hildebrand, Senior Vice President with Hydrostor, and it's a pleasure to be here again today. Hydrostor, for folks that have not heard of us, we are a long-duration energy solutions provider. Now that's a mouthful, so I'll break that down a little bit. The folks on this panel are typically more focused on lithium-ion utility-scale batteries for energy storage. Our niche, if you will, is long duration, which is typically longer than 4 hours of energy storage. Our sweet spot is 8 hours and above for our advanced compressed air energy storage technology. Now that technology, ACASE we call for short, has been, we've been actively developing and refining that technology over the past decade plus. We've proven that through small pilot and commercial facilities that are in operation today, and now we are ready to bring that to full-scale utility development. Our flagship project is located right here in Kern County. We couldn't be prouder of the reception and the support we've garnered here in the community. And that project, I'll provide some more updates on it as we move through the panel, but we are making excellent progress on that project. The California Energy Commission is our lead agency jurisdictionally for the facility. We'll provide some more updates. We've also enjoyed working very closely with Kern County on that project. The project, again, is 500 megawatts for 8 hours. We call it the Willow Rock Energy Storage Center. It's located just north of Rosamond, near the Don Road exit off of Highway 14. It will sit on 88 acres and, again, generate 500 megawatts over the course of 8 hours of storage. So it is one of the largest, if not the largest, energy storage projects in North America currently in advanced development. The project will create a multitude of construction and operations employment opportunities. We expect a peak workforce of over 700 people at our facility. That construction cycle will take about 5 years in total. It's a major infrastructure project. The technology is very simple. We utilize air, water, and gravity. We have some videos online, 3-minute clips about how our technology works. We do not burn natural gas or have any greenhouse gas emissions, and we're making excellent progress on the project. Another neat aspect of our technology that a lot of these new storage technologies require a lot of new developments, new equipment, new technology. What we've really focused on from day one is to utilize existing off-the-shelf equipment and just deploy it in a new manner. And so we're not waiting for some new whiz-bang technological machine to be invented. We're actually utilizing equipment that's been in use in refineries and the like for decades. So we've secured our lead investor is Goldman Sachs, so that does say a lot about the technical buy-in for our technology. The project will be in excess of $1.5 billion, and we are targeting 2030 for our commercial operation date.
Thanks, Curt. Thanks for that introduction to what's going to be a really landmark project for California. Next up, I'd like to introduce Greg Patzer from Arevon. He's the Vice President of Project Management Construction. Can you give us an introduction to your company and explain why all of your projects are named after birds?
Yeah, thank you, Molly. So as Molly said, my name is Greg Patzer. I'm the Vice President of Project Management and Construction for Arevon. So I think we were initially introduced as developers up here, but I'm really just the dumb construction guy. So Arevon is a US-based independent power producer, solely focused in the renewable space. And then also just in solar and battery storage. We have about 5.5 gigawatts of operating projects across the country, and about 15% of that is made up of battery storage, with the rest being photovoltaics. We are currently either operating or we own 12 projects in Kern County, so we do have a lot of experience here. Unfortunately, we don't have anything in development, but we did just finish our two-phased Eland 1 and 2 project which are actually named after gazelles, not birds, but we do have a portfolio of standalone storage projects across California that are all named after birds. That's what Molly is referring to. Let's see. So the Eland 1 and 2 shown on the screen here, we just brought them to commercial operation. LADWP is our off-taker, and so I think as the story is with many of the projects in Kern County, we're generating the energy here and sending it someplace else. Yeah, but that's all I have for Arevon.
Thanks. I was wondering what an eland was, but I should have known from the logo there that it's a gazelle. You also have a Springbok project, so that must be also
Also a gazelle.
a gazelle. So,
Yeah.
but these gazelles, they coexist in an environmentally sustainable way with the birds, with kingbird and
Correct.
cormorant. And okay,
Correct.
good. That's
yeah,
good.
peregrine, nighthawk.
And nighthawk.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, nighthawk. Okay. Last but certainly not least, Scott Kuhlke, from Senior Director of Development from EDF. Introduce us to EDF.
Great. Thank you for hosting us today. My name is Scott Kuhlke. I'm the Senior Director of Development for EDF Power Solutions. We are a low-carbon energy producer and part of the largest electricity provider in the world, EDF. I've been with EDF, or in the renewables space, for 15 years, and a decade of that spent with EDF. Really proud of the work that we do and the work that I get to do in this, focus on economic development, pairing that with grid decarbonization, to hopefully leave a cleaner generation for futures to come. And with that, Kern County is a very important part of our portfolio. Our largest concentration of projects in North America is here in Kern County in the Antelope Valley. What you're seeing here in front of you are projects that we've permitted, developed, and own and operate. We permitted 8 projects totaling 1,000 megawatts of wind, solar, battery storage. We own and operate 5 of them from our operations and maintenance facility outside the community of Rosamond. And we just recently permitted our largest project to date, not as big as some of these other projects, but large for EDF, a 320 megawatt PV with a 1,000 megawatt battery storage project that we are marketing and slating for construction operation by 2028. We're proud of the work that we do, the investments in local community, and the benefits that Kern County gets from the projects that we develop.
That's great. Thanks for giving us those introductions and those beautiful pictures of that extremely lovely looking new infrastructure. I know that developers and companies like such as yours have a choice about where you pursue new energy projects. And so I wanted to ask each of you to think about your experience working here in Kern County. Some of you have started to touch upon it. But in particular, when you start thinking about developing storage resources, at whatever phase, you can pick the various phases of the projects that you're working on. What are some of the things that jump out at you about the process your company has experienced for developing and working here in Kern County? And since I know I had a chance to speak with some of you who have experience in other parts of the country, maybe you could, you don't have to say anything bad about any other counties, but what is it special about working here and developing the infrastructure here in Kern? So let's go down the line again, and starting with Brendan.
Sure. Yeah, I would say our experience developing storage projects in Kern County, it's been tough but fair. Generally, the county's requirements are well-defined. One thing that stuck out to me in particular with the Belfield project, and actually others that are in permitting right now, is the county's willingness to work with us and solve problems throughout the project. We encounter an issue or a challenge to overcome, and instead of just throwing up the requirement and going away until we come back with a comprehensive solution that may or may not have been what you actually were looking for, Kern has actually engaged with us throughout the process to come with the solution and communicate what they're looking for. So as a developer, that kind of ongoing collaboration throughout the project is really valuable and gives us confidence about meeting our schedule commitments on the back end. And there was the second part about what sets Kern County apart.
Yeah, like what's different about working here and then maybe some of the other places you've worked in your career?
Sure. I would say that, I mean, look, Kern County knows energy. I think everyone in this room can attest to that. And so they bring a breadth of experience over a diverse range of energy technologies over many years. And so when AES comes to Kern County with a new storage project or solar or wind for that matter, it's generally not the first time they've seen that type of project. And even when we are bringing the latest generation of existing tech or a novel new product, we're meeting them in a place of experience and expertise. And that really stands out about Kern amongst California and other HJs.
Yeah, thanks for that. So Curt, your experience with Willow Rock has been really unique. So tell us about what it's been like here.
Unique, I like that, Molly. Yeah, we first started working on our project, the Willow Rock Energy Storage Center, 5 years ago. And I remember quite distinctly my first introductory Zoom call. This was during the pandemic with Lorelei, introducing our company, our technology, our project. And I was kind of certain that might have been the first and last introduction call I might ever had with Lorelei. She thought we were a crazy Canadian company blowing hot air. But as persistence prevailed, we did work closely with Lorelei and the county to site and re-site our facility. The one wrinkle in our case was the California Energy Commission. And just for background, the California Energy Commission was established back in the mid-'70s, early '70s, to really allow the state to meet its statewide needs from an energy perspective without local jurisdictions denying projects based on NIMBY concerns. We need power plants in the state. We need refineries. We need transmission lines. So the Energy Commission, it was set up during the Saudi Arabian oil embargo, and we needed energy. So the Energy Commission was granted override authority for all local and state agencies. One-stop shop, come to us, we'll give you all the permits you need, go build your plant. Their jurisdiction begins at projects 50 megawatts and larger in size. So we check that box with our 500 megawatts. And those power plants need to be thermal in nature. That typically means oil, gas, coal plants. Nuclear's excluded, they have their own sideshow. Hydro's excluded from their jurisdiction as well. So we introduced ourselves again to the Energy Commission. We don't burn natural gas, we store our waste heat from the compression process, store it and reutilize it during the generation process. When we expand the air, we reheat it with stored energy. So again, we don't burn natural gas, so we didn't view ourselves as a classical thermal power plant. CEC, for whatever reasons, you can ask them, they really liked our technology and wanted to help us. So they exerted jurisdiction, put us in a big bear hug, if you will. We would have much preferred to work through the county, understanding how tough but fair they are. The Energy Commission process, I've been through it a whole lot over the years. It's about as extensive and elaborate a permitting process as you're going to find globally outside of the nuclear arena. It is a very in-depth, intense, extensive, elongated, throw an adjective out there, it's quite a show. We submitted our original application for this project in 2021, Laurel, with the California Energy Commission. Now, we did move our site a couple years ago due to geologic issues with our original site. But nonetheless, we have been very active with the Energy Commission. When I say we filed our application, it's about 8 feet tall if you were to stack it up, and very extensive, covering each and every potential aspect of the project. The The Energy Commission has a 12-month statutory review period. By law, they are required to give a thumbs up or thumbs down within 12 months. Have they ever done that? Has anybody ever seen them? I have not seen them do that. What they tend to say is, we'll get into the process 8, 9 months in, we're not going to make it. We can give you an answer in 12 months, but you're not going to like it, so why don't you just stick around? So we are now many years into this process, and we've been working very closely with the Energy Commission. We've garnered tremendous support from the community here, and I just want to emphasize how important that support is to folks like us doing hard things, doing infrastructure. That support has been immensely important in Sacramento, in New York. Lorelei talked about funding. In Australia, we have a sister project going forward. People look to Kern County. What's your experience in developing here? We have lined up folks speaking in support of our project to the Energy Commission, and we have no opposition. That doesn't happen in California, from my experience, very often. So, what I wanted to transition into, we had a real nice dessert on the menu last night. We were walking out of the dinner, and we were informed that our proposed decision was finally published at 8:30 last night, recommending approval of our project. Take a bow, Laura Lees. We're still going through that decision. It's 700 plus pages. We'll let you know more when we get through it, but we're really excited, and I just want to thank everybody that has stuck with us through this long duration project.
You guys get that pun? That was good.
Yeah, thank you. We are on track right now. We still have our $1.76 billion loan guarantee from the Department of Energy in place, and we are on track to break ground first half of next year and be operational in 2030. So it's been a slog, but we're getting there.
Phew. Well, I have some fellow civil servants to thank up in Sacramento for making my meeting with Curt today slightly less awkward. I did not hit send on that document last night, but I'm glad somebody did. Moving on, I want to ask Greg, next up, if you could just talk a little bit about what it's been like for you and Arevon. You've developed a lot of projects here in Kern. So what stands out for you, your investors, your team?
Yeah, so I think, well, first off, I'd be remiss if I wasn't the first to congratulate you, Curt. That's very exciting news. Yeah. So I think the theme that we've heard a couple of times already is tough but fair in Kern County. I don't think anybody has built here without having a tough discussion with Lorelei. And, but I'm sure that everybody's also found out that she's very fair. And when you're open and you're willing to work together, that makes it a lot easier for developers to then get our finance parties comfortable with investing in a community. We're a long-term owner-operator, so we're always looking for partners that we're going to be working with for 20, 30, even up to 40 years. So it's very important for us to have that good business relationship from the start, and we've certainly found that here in Kern County.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think, one other thing that sets Kern County apart, I think that Lorelei made the joke earlier about submitted on purple paper and, like an odd request that may come for how you submit a permit application. I think that Kern County is very good about not saying, well, that's more of a lavender, it's not really purple. And so, if the expectations are set, that predictability makes it, again, easier for us to commit to, even if we know that it's going to take a while, it's just still easier for us to commit to working in a community.
Right, somebody to work with you through the challenges. I mean, I did check the stats last night, at least on the California independent system operator side, there are over 180 projects operating here in Kern that I could see. And you don't get to that number without working through a lot of problems and using, each one of those challenges as an opportunity to, establish expectations and predictability for the next round. And I really appreciated Lorelai's remark about how, she could probably write the solar EIRs, by now. And it is true. I mean, once you do something multiple times, it makes a big difference. So let's see, Scott, I want to also ask you about EDF. What has your experience been like in Kern and your personal experience here versus other places?
Well, the one thing that Kern benefits from is some fantastic resources. So the market's here, right? Great solar resources, some of the best solar in the country, next to some largest load being Southern California, well connected to investor-owned municipal utilities, CCAs who want to buy our product. So right there, we start with a great advantage. And the county makes use of that advantages that they have. So as a developer, what's really important for us is taking the first steps of going into the local community, understanding their needs, and what it is that they would like to see out of a project. Then the county is very open to working with us early on for early solicitation to understand what the challenges may be, but also highlight what some benefits may be that we may not see. Working through that allows us to really sculpt our project in a tight manner. So when we actually go to seek formal processing, we can count on that processing within a time frame, maybe not as quick as we like, but one that we can count on and communicate to our investors and the folks that want to purchase the power from our projects. And in return, Kern gets great benefits from it, great paying jobs in the building trades, investments in the local community, and further property taxes and continued fees from our projects that stay here locally. So with all that combined, we continue to, I like to say to my team, go back to the well of Kern County and continue developing in this area.
Excellent other pun. Very good. I'm looking to those of you who have not yet punned on the panel. I'm expecting something. Just let it happen. It'll come out naturally. So I want to turn a little bit. We just have a few minutes left. I want to turn a little bit to the future. I mean, the state has gone. I'm sure you've heard the statistics. We've gone from less than 100 megawatts of storage around 2020 to now we have over 14,000 megawatts of storage on the grid. And we know that the future, within the decade, we'll have another 25,000 megawatts of storage. By the way, there's over 12,000 megawatts of additional projects in the queue located here in Kern County. So I do expect a lot of them to get built. Over 4,000 of them I know to be in contract. So a lot of interest in continuing to develop here in Kern County, and a lot of energy and capacity still needed for the state. So looking to that future, what are some of the things that counties can do to support, in particular, energy storage development? It gets a lot of questions around safety and interconnection and questions about tariffs. So what are some of the things that counties can do to help support the future development of storage in particular? I'm going to start with you again. Thanks, Brendan.
Sure, and I haven't come up with a pun yet, but you can circle back later.
It might just happen.
Yeah, it might
Sometimes
happen
it does.
extemporaneously. No, moving into the future for energy storage projects in Kern County, I think there's a couple areas where they can help to continue to support us. I think one of them would be just continued collaboration and responsiveness with the developers as we're going through both the planning and use phases, as well as the building permitting and construction. Another one would be continued interdepartmental coordination, so getting all the stakeholders together early and often. An example of that would be having fire in the room early on before you get to the ministerial permits, and it kind of provides the developers with some continuities of some of the more major requirements. And then finally, I think just having clear and established guidelines and processes for permitting the projects moving forward. That the more you can write down, the better, and the more explicit you can be. It makes things easier for developers to plan for and to mitigate hazards up front.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and I appreciate that guideline. I know the Governor's Office of Business Development has been working on a permitting guidebook, probably not directed at Kern County, because Kern County doesn't necessarily need to be taught how to do permitting, but in recognition of the fact that counties need to have clear and predictable guidelines and trying to get some statewide consistency of best practices, many of which started here in Kern. So, Curt, looking to the future, what can counties do to help the future of storage?
Well, I would echo Brendan's comments certainly, and also add that schedule certainty is really important. I know those are strange words coming out of a guy's mouth that just talked about a 10-year development cycle from start to operations, but nonetheless, the time is money in our business, and to have some level of certainty to get to yes or no, to understand the process and have staffing sufficient within the county to support the demand or the load of applicants and projects coming before them is really an important factor in assessing, hey, can we get this done in a realistic time frame, or is this going to go into a black hole? Are we going to get deprioritized over bigger, better projects? Some level of certainty and visibility into the schedule and the county's ability to staff and perform in a timely manner would be most helpful. And Kern County's been great on that front. Kern County is unusually capable in most of those regards relative to other counties across the state.
Great, timeliness. Okay, so Greg, what can counties do to help the future of storage?
Yeah, so I guess I would say that with the amount of renewables that are getting added to the grid year over year in California, the future of storage is long-term. Would you like that? Yeah?
Yeah, that was, thank you. Long-term, thank you.
And I think that going along with that, counties need to be open to listening to new ideas and exploring new technologies. So, I think that everybody up here on the stage is interested in delivering a safe, reliable project, and as are the various counties. That I think we have the same goals in mind, so we just need to have that dialogue, explore the new technologies together, and find the solutions that will work into the future.
Thanks. And Scott, from your perspective, what barriers, do you see for renewables or storage, and what can counties do to support, projects getting from the queue through construction and online?
Yeah, thank you. And starting to build on some of the topics brought here about certainty of schedule, I'd be remiss to not highlight some of the challenges that our industry faces as we look to implement our projects, right? So we're all aware of the tariffs and duties that have been recently announced and continue to be announced. This causes great kind of havoc on our ability to set our prices. It's raising prices for everyone, and our suppliers have really pushed those costs on to us, and now we're having to pass those costs on into our projects. So, we're taking more time to work through contracts, set prices. Nobody wants to be in an underwater contract. There's a good story to this, right? There's more reshoring of manufacturing coming to the United States. EDF is working on domesticating its pipeline for more domestic product and solars, trackers, and battery storage. But nevertheless, prices are going up, and we're trying to keep them products moving forward to keep those prices down. On the permitting side, we're being challenged from a federal side. So if your project has federal or federal component, tough time getting done. So let project site on private state-managed land, greater chance of achieving their CODs. And then finally, we all know the bill that passed. It's provided some certainty for us. So we want schedule certainty, but maybe not in the fact of, get your project started construction in 6 months to keep your tax credits or else. So tying that all together, increased costs, tightened pipelines because of the federal component, and a greater demand for our projects, we need to work towards really affecting these projects and pushing them through. So working with the county governments, I know we have a lot of decision makers here, understand that as we bring projects through permitting, we've invested a lot of time, resources to get them to a state. Working closely with partners, whether it be Kern County or other areas that have jurisdiction over our projects, to work as partners, understanding the needs that we have to bring these projects online. And so it's been great in the past and present and hopefully future of working with Kern County to keep progressing our projects and implementing them in the timeframes that we need.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really glad that you brought up the situation that we're in now, and it really highlights, when you're trying to bring together procurement, that's something I work on a lot, is bringing the off-takers to the procurement table. So once they've got the procurement secured, they've got the interconnection secured, the permitting secured, being able to bring projects to fruition, it is really important to get it to the finish line. And just given the range of expertise that we have here, we just have a minute for closing remarks, and then I'm going to turn it back to our sponsors. And any other last thoughts about the future of storage? One thing that we didn't talk about is safety. And I'm just wondering if, in a room full of energy experts here, what can any of you tell us about, the future of safety and fire safety in particular, working with storage, particularly battery storage?
Sure. Yeah, no, I can say that the requirements have come a long way, even from where they were 5 years ago. The standards, the UL standards, the NFPA 855 code, I think we're in a much better place than we were when this industry kind of really took off. So I guess my closing remark would be the latest 2026 of NFPA 855 is coming out. The code cycles are in progress, and so get up to speed on that, and I think we'll have a much more better product moving forward.
Right. Thanks, because we all want a safe energy industry. Anyone else? Closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say that the standards give us a good baseline from a safety standpoint, but I think I'll just touch back on the innovation side. So if an event happens, we're trying to find means and measures to put in place to help keep first responders safe when they come out to respond to an event. Unfortunately, we can't predict when something will happen. We try to put all the measures in place to prevent that from happening, but accidents still happen. And so if we can try to keep the first responders safe, when they're coming out, those are some things that we're looking at to implement into all of our projects going forward, as well as our projects in operation.
Yeah. And the governor asked us at the state level to put together a battery energy storage collaborative, really focused on safety, in recognition of the fact that if we don't get battery storage safety correct and continuously, it really presents a very large threat to energy development and energy security and reliability. So thank you very much for all that your companies are doing on that, and thank you also very much to the folks at the local level who are ensuring that those fire safety standards, the latest and greatest, are getting implemented across all of the upcoming and existing sites. So with that, I'd like to thank my panel for giving us an introduction to your companies and energy storage here in California. You've been wonderful, and please join me in giving them a round of applause.